Good day. Matt here, and this is day 15 of 30 days of intuitive eating, a journey of listening to, tuning into, and trusting our body's natural wisdom, created by Megan McElroy with intention inspired. And today we are going to notice how our mindset changes depending on our perspective. And now diving right in with our host Megan to unpack what this objective perspective is and how it applies to our intuitive eating.
Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Eating Encouraged. Today our intention is to notice how your mindset can change and to be more objective in the moment. So today we're talking about your perspective, because when your perspective changes, your reality also changes. Why it's important towards intuitive eating is because often we stop eating intuitively and begin to eat emotionally, or stop listening to the body and listening to calories over our hunger and fullness, when our perspective is one of the victim or helplessness, right? So if you feel like a victim or helpless around weight loss, you might not listen to your body and go to some weight loss guru that says, okay, eat 1,000 calories a day. And then instead of listening to your body, you listen to that, right? And that's all because of the perspective you're looking through at life through, right? And so we want to be more objective and slow down and notice that there's lots of alternative choices than just eating to feel better. So just like we talked about with labels, the perspective you have can be tied to the label you're putting on yourself, right? And so around food, it can be really easy to fall victim to that helpless mindset. And so for instance, I'm a licensed vet tech, and for years I worked as an ICU nurse in a busy veterinary hospital in Queens. And that would mean that, we'd have 12 or 16 hour shifts, and some days were really slow and other days were really busy. And I could go to work prepared with a bunch of healthy foods, and the day would be slammed and I would be busy and I wouldn't get a break, right? And then somebody would bring donuts in. And so I still have all my healthy food, but somebody brought donuts in. And in that moment, my perspective, my mindset was one of, I deserve a donut because I've had such a stressful, busy day at work, right? That victim, helplessness mindset right there. It's not that you don't deserve to feel good, right? It's not that you can't go eat the donut. It's that you don't need the excuse of I deserve a donut for doing my job, the job I was hired to do, right? Yeah, life is busy. I was hired to do this job and my reward is my paycheck. Now, going to eat a donut is not necessary, right? I don't deserve a donut for doing my job. I create that mindset through the perspective I have. And maybe the label I put on myself, I'm an emotional binge eater, so, of course I'm gonna go eat the donut, right? So it's really good to notice this perspective and how it's shaping your actual life in reality. Because if you fall into that victim helplessness mindset, often you're probably going to give up all your power, whether that's around food or something else, and you just hope it works out or give the power to somebody else. And you still have all this control, but when we are stuck in that lower level of thinking victim mindset, we forget how much power and control we have, right? My mindset was a victim around food for a very long time, and I thought that, eating a donut would make me feel better. It never did. And of course, a part of me wanting to eat that donut at work was extreme hunger, right? Maybe I had to skip lunch because the job was so busy. But my food was right there in the fridge, and I had just as much time to go eat that food as I did to eat the donut, but I chose the donut. Why did I do that? Well, there's so many reasons, right? Like sugar cravings, like we talked about, from being hungry and needing energy, and the body's like, give me quick sugar. So that's what I would do instead of eating that balanced meal that would have helped me feel just as energized for longer without having that blood sugar roller coaster. But in that moment, I didn't know anything about blood sugar roller coasters. Now that you do, you can make healthier choices. It's not that you can't have the donut, but it's more like, do we need to have the donut now, or could we have our meal and then have the donut as a small dessert after, right? And that's really helpful to notice, is that to be more objective in life, right? Like, what are all these other options there are other than eating food in that moment to feel better in some way, and to listen to your body more and be more intuitive around food, right? Don't get stuck in your thinking of, I deserve this because it's been a busy day, and instead listen to the body. I'm truly hungry, which doesn't mean I need a donut. Now, if the donut's the only food available, then go eat a donut. You're hungry, you need food. But if it's not the only food available and you have all this other food you brought with you, we don't want to create those excuses based off the mentality, the perspective we have to go eat the donut when we had plenty of other food to choose from. It doesn't make you bad for eating the donut. The donut's not off limits. You can eat it. The goal is to eat the healthy whole foods first. That's all. Somewhere along the lines in life, I don't know when it happened, it went from like have a healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a small dessert to have dessert for breakfast, dessert for lunch, dessert for dinner, and then sometimes have some veggies if you want to. And that's how I see society now. I feel like a lot of things are like indulge, eat a little bit healthy. And we want to flip that. Eat healthy, indulge a little bit. And you can enjoy every bite of healthy food because there's so many flavors and textures, tons of healthy sugars, tons of things that you enjoy eating that are actually very, very healthy, and we can still enjoy all the sugars we love too. And it really comes down to that mindset of believing that that's possible and not falling into the trap of being a victim or helpless around food, because you're never actually a victim or helpless around food. That's just a mindset. That's your perspective. And so we want to slow down and be more objective, kind of be unbiased, right? Instead of biasly seeing that as like, well, I always eat emotionally. That's my bias, right? I believe that it's a bias. To see it as like, well, sometimes I eat emotionally and sometimes I don't. And I have the option right now to eat emotionally, but I also have tons of healthy food. So I could eat some healthy food and then eat my sugary food if I want to. And so there's so many choices. And the more we slow down and notice that the mindset we're in, that perspective we're in is creating the reality that we're experiencing, it shows us all the control we can have, right? We have so much more control than we think. So by slowing down, you give your brain time to change its perspective and be more objective in life. And you can go from victim to control within moments of a few deep breathing exercises, right? Just a few deep breaths, letting your mind slow down and going from, I can't handle this, I've always eaten, I've always binged ate, and all these other thoughts we have that are victim thoughts, right? That are our perspective in that moment, slowing down and just realizing that's just my perspective right now. And I actually have a lot more control than I am letting myself see in this moment. And by slowing down, we see like, oh, I have so many choices as what to eat right now. It doesn't just have to be this donut. And so that's how we start to tune into your intuitive eating, no matter what's happening in life, right? Because life is going to happen. Life gets busy. You're going to, forget to eat. You're going to have a busy schedule. You're going to maybe get stuck into a 4-hour meeting and you're going to be starving the moment you leave that meeting. And if you go into your mindset and that perspective is, that's not fair, my boss is such a terrible boss for not letting me have lunch and now I have to go eat sugar, that's the only option. It's very easy to fall into these perspectives. And instead we want to slow down and be more objective around food and see that there are tons of options and that emotionally eating or eating sugar isn't the only option usually. All right, that is the end of today's lesson on perspective. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you in the next lesson. Have a great day.
That's so great. So good. Thank you, Meg, for unpacking that with us, the objective perspective. I like to usually compare that to the subjective perspective where I am the subject, though everything is happening to me. I'm in the middle of the storm. I am the subject of it all. And then, wait a second, I have the option. I can have an objective perspective of what's happening, which gives me all of the control and the freedom. And it's a practice. It's a beautiful practice. And I love this, how it interweaves in with our intuitive eating, because that's been my practice from the beginning. I've noticed, okay, I just have to notice what I'm doing. I have to slow down in order to notice. Once I notice, then I can choose. I can choose to have this different perspective, to remove these labels that I've adopted, to really just undo and return to the body who knows. Back to the body, always back to the body. All right, today's healthy habit. This week's healthy habit is to drink more water. We are going to aim for 50 ounces of water today. And we're almost at our goal, getting there. We're going to do a few more days of drinking some water as our healthy habit as we work up to our goal of drinking about 65 ounces of water per day. So keep that water close, keep sipping it down, and today try to shoot for 50 ounces of water. Our wise words for the day come from George Harrison, who said, "It's all in the mind." All right, today's journal prompt is to think about how you can view your relationship to food from a more objective perspective. So reflecting on what Meg has said about this, how does it apply to you? How can you view your relationship to food from a more objective perspective? Feel free to take a moment to journal on this. So for me, when I'm caught up in a subjective perspective, my body typically constricts and tenses up, and my nervous system even kind of spikes a little bit because I don't feel like I'm in control. I feel like a victim to my circumstance. Whereas when I'm witnessing what's happening, regardless of what is happening, from an objective perspective, I feel more in control. So my body naturally relaxes because it feels safer. And I've noticed this when I'm in intense conversations with friends, when I'm emotionally eating, when I'm witnessing an event that's intense. If I am the subject of what's happening, I feel like, just like I don't have my freedom, like I'm being snuffed and I can't, breathe. And in those moments, it's just notice. Okay, take a breath, slow down for a second, as Meg suggested, and can I step back and be the witness? Can I take a more objective perspective? Because then I feel more spaciousness in whatever is happening. I'm a lot less likely to take things personally. I'm a lot more inclined to just let things flow through me. Emotions, feelings come up. I see them objectively and they're gone. And the next ones come up. So it truly, truly is a powerful practice. But for me, it returning to the body as a signal for when I am taking that subjective versus objective perspective has kind of been my tool. And then breathing into it. No judgment, just notice, move on. All right, today's micro challenge for the day: go on a walk and enjoy the fresh air. That's it. Maybe you can put it in your calendar. Just take 5, 10, 2 hours, whatever, just to go on a little walk and enjoy the fresh air. And that wraps up today's intentional session on being objective. I am so curious what your thoughts are. Feel free to drop some comments, or there's a link in the description if you'd like to join us on our activity feed for this course, where we're all just sharing all the ups and downs of this wonderful intuitive eating journey. And we would be honored to have you over there if that's something that you think you'd be interested in. All right, tomorrow our intention is I am unapologetic. I got to take a little peek into this one, and it's going to be a goodie, so I'm really looking forward to it. But until then, I hope you feel an extra sense of peace and freedom and control by playing with this objective perspective and maybe noticing where in life you tend to see things a little more subjectively versus objectively, and have fun playing with that. There's a lot of power and freedom to be had. Enjoy the day, and I'll catch you mañana. Peace.